What's up, everyone? It's Denise Salcedo. Welcome back to the channel. We are headed to AEW All In and Wembley Stadium, and the person that is going to be performing at that show, we got the glamour, Mariah May. Mariah, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Yes, I've been so excited. I've been trying to get an interview with you, Mariah, for the longest time, but your schedule is busy. We're finally making it happen. I'm glad to have you on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. And I feel like now is the right time to have me on.
Yeah, I was going to say you are heading into, obviously AEW was at Wembley last year, but you didn't get a chance to be at that card. Obviously it was different times, etc. But now things have changed. You're on that card. You're competing for the AEW Women's World Championship against Toni Storm. I want to start off with asking you what your emotions are heading into this pay-per-view with possibly the biggest match of your career.
It's funny you say that because I remember last year very well. I was in Japan, actually. I was in the 5-star tournament and I stayed up. I had a match that day and I came back on the bus and I tried to sleep because we travel like all over Japan. And I came back and I stayed up so like early hours of the morning to watch this pay-per-view. And obviously at the time I had signed with AEW, so I knew I was going there and I was like, wow, I would really love to wrestle there next year. But either way, I'd just be happy to be in catering. Like, I'll just be happy to be there. And then I would never have dreamed that I would get to wrestle for the women's world title. But I knew I was going to attach myself to Toni the minute that I went to AEW, whenever that happened to time out. And when TK said, they're going to have the Owen Hart Foundation tournament and the winner gets to wrestle at Wembley, I knew that was the perfect moment to really turn on Toni and take over.
Oh my God, it has been so cool to see your rise because it was like the second you came in, everyone, like there was so much buzz around your name, people wanting to see you, and then you just sort of like skyrocketed. How have you felt about everything you've been able to do since the moment you signed with AEW and where you're at right now, and really such a short period of time?
I mean, I'm extremely grateful, but I think the lesson here, because so many of the women in our locker room are extremely talented. They look amazing, they bring something different to the table, but I'm definitely the smartest one by a long shot because I was the one that attached myself to the world champion who was quite clearly losing her mind. I don't know if anybody has noticed that lately. She is a mess. And nobody kind of saw that opening window. Everybody wanted to do the same old, like, I'm here and I've arrived and I want a title shot. Whereas I knew the real way to defeat Toni Storm isn't physical warfare, it's mental warfare. So I became her best friend. I made her fall in love with me. She loved me like I'm her child. I think she might love me more than my own mother, who I'm actually visiting right now. And I turned it all against her.
Well, it definitely worked for you, Mariah. I'll tell you that much right now. I feel like you definitely taught Toni Storm a lesson, especially with the way that you turned on her. I think everybody was just like, what the heck? Like the moment that you attacked her, I think everybody's reactions were just like off the charts.
Which really surprised me because can you honestly tell me that you didn't see it coming? I feel like from the moment I stepped in, everybody saw it coming. It was quite obvious what I wanted, but Toni didn't. In fact, now I still don't think she quite understood what happened.
Oh man, well, who knows what's going to happen at AEW All In, but I know that I'm definitely excited to see that. Mariah, do you think this is the biggest match of your career, and what would it mean to you to win the AEW Women's World Championship?
I mean, this is absolutely the biggest match of my career. This is All Elite Wrestling. This is All In. This is Wembley Stadium, which I actually visited today, and it just brings back memories of being there when I was younger and seeing like these huge artists and singers. And like, I was like, it would be so cool to perform at Wembley, but I was just a kid. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And I never would have dreamed that I actually would get to be at Wembley. So it's definitely a dream come true, and it's definitely going to be incredible to have my family there. But honestly, the thing that I'm looking forward to most is Toni Storm's final curtain call.
So I do want to rewind a little bit here because we kind of mentioned it right now as sort of where you were at last year and where you're at now. Talk to us about how your opportunity with AEW came about, because I know you were making a name for yourself. You're really hustling all over the world, but how did the opportunity with AEW come about, and what was your reaction when you realized like, hey, they want to sign me, considering that it's a hot company, a lot of people are trying to get signed and they're coming and chasing after you?
I know. I definitely didn't see it coming. So I was on the British Independents, for those who don't know, for quite a long time, and really working so hard to try and get opportunities. And it's not the biggest scene, so I would do YouTube and I would do Twitch and all these other things to try and make a name for myself and get myself out there. And it was becoming very difficult. And I really wanted to go to Japan. I wanted to go to Stardom, and I just wanted to start again. I wanted to be like a rookie wrestler once again and just learn how to wrestle again. And it was, again, very difficult to get to Stardom. I didn't really know how to get there. And this was also coming out of COVID, so traveling was very difficult, and every country had different rules and regulations. And then I finally got this opportunity to go to Japan. And I remember in my first week, I said, like, I would really love to stay for longer than 3 months, because that was my original kind of time frame to stay. And they were like, you can stay as long as you want. And then I was just like, okay, I'm just going to stay forever. Like, I was like, I'm not going home. So my visa was a year, and they were like, okay, you can at least stay until December. So yeah, I was just on this little kind of, it was a really good journey for me, both personally and professionally, in terms of just like being on my own and just starting again almost, and like learning how to wrestle and connecting with these different people and learning a new culture. And then I think about 4 months in, 3 months in, I got this message out of nowhere, and they're like, hey, Tony Khan's interested in signing you. And I remember I was awake at, I think, 5 a.m. because I had a show that day. And I was just, it came at a time when I was like, I was quite lonely in Japan, and I wasn't like, I was really kind of down and kind of doubting myself, which happens naturally when you're chasing a dream, and there are highs and lows and failures, and you are on your own sometimes. And I don't know, I was a bit down in the dumps, and I remember waking up and just being like, what? What? And then, like, I just got on the phone, and then I just was like, I went to the show, and obviously I couldn't say anything, and I was just there like, what? And because for me, my dream as a kid was always to move to America, and it was always to wrestle on TV and then follow all of those dreams. So I was just like, it's there. And like every single time I spoke to them, and things progressed and progressed and progressed and became more real, it was just, I would get off the phone, and I felt like something bad was gonna happen, or like, I don't know, like I was like, it's gonna end, like it's not gonna work until I like officially sign. I was like, I can't get excited. And then when it was almost done, I remember calling my family and telling them, and that was just like, I feel like, I was like, I made it, like I did it. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
surreal, and I did not expect it to happen so quickly. I knew it was going to happen because I was not going to stop until it did, but I didn't expect it to happen so quick.
I love that, because it's one of those things, because I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, where you're like, oh my God, I'm down in the dumps, nothing's happening in my life, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden this like big opportunity comes about. But that opportunity came about because you were putting in the work and, traveling and really going out there. Now, Mariah, this may be sort of a generic question, but I am curious though, how did you like fall in love with pro wrestling? When did this begin for you to decide to pursue a career in pro wrestling?
So I've always loved wrestling. I've loved wrestling since I was a little kid, and I have 2 older brothers, and we used to stay up and watch wrestling super late, because obviously we're British, so like the time difference, far too late. Or I would get up before school and I would watch wrestling before I went to school, and I would like go into school and tell my friends who did not watch wrestling, just like 8-year-old girls, like, hey, like this happened, this happened, this happened. And it's crazy because I actually saw one of my friends when I was visiting home, and she was like, I remember when you came to school talking about it, and now you're gonna wrestle at Wembley. And I was like, that is actually insane. But yeah, it started as a child, and I never kind of grew out of it, as most people kind of do grow out of these dreams. I was like, I really wanted it. And that's not to say I didn't pursue other things and do other things, because it felt kind of impossible, just because the UK isn't the biggest wrestling scene. But as I was kind of becoming, 19, 20, that's when we started to get a few more schools over here and more opportunity. And I was just like, I'm going to try this. And it wasn't easy for sure, but I've wanted this since I was a little kid. And I feel like beating Toni Storm and winning that Women's World Championship is just going to be I feel like it's not me, it's the child in me that's going to take that championship at Wembley and celebrate over Toni Storm's dead body.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's like full circle, where you're 1 second talking about it with your schoolmates, and next thing you know, you're at Wembley Stadium. I mean, it really does go to show that like anything can happen. And I honestly, I love that so much. So with that being said, like, how do you feel being part of AEW has changed your life?
Oh my God, it's just made my life. I wouldn't even say changed. It's like, I feel like my life is just complete now. I feel like so settled as like a person, and I have my own apartment, and I have like this whole life I'm building for myself. And it is really difficult. Of course, I love my family. I miss my family so much, but I did always feel like a little bit out of place living here. And I always felt quite like alone, because I had this dream and it was crazy. And then even living in Japan, and I will always love Japan. I would love to go back there, but even living there didn't feel like 100% right. Like I was very lonely, whereas AEW just feels like my home. It just feels like the place I'm supposed to be, the opportunities it's presented me already, and getting to be a part of this storyline, which is so creative, which is what I've been so hungry for, because I used to do acting. Like I love that. I mean, of course, I'm very physical in the ring, but I love that whole side of wrestling. And I just feel like I have this amazing family at AEW with all the wrestlers and everyone backstage and all these people who truly care about you and want to see you win and want to work with you on other things. And it's just so nice to be around creative and like-minded people, and to be able to live in America, because that was really my dream, and I did the American dream.
Yeah, but so how's that been like for you? Because I can't imagine just like moving to another country and starting all over, like you mentioned, far away from your family, but you're doing it. What's that whole journey been within from itself?
Well, I've done it a few times.
Yeah, that's true.
I've done it. So Japan was different because I didn't plan it, and I just had like 2 suitcases, and I was just like, I'm just gonna stay. I don't know. It just was the time in my life I felt like I needed to do that. But America was a little different because I kind of knew it was coming. So I just got back from my tour, and I got home. I was surrounded by boxes because obviously my whole time in Japan, I used to not live with my parents, so all my stuff was sent back to my parents' house, and then I had my stuff from Japan, and there were just all these boxes from like different times in my life. And we were sort of just waiting for my visa, so that could take anything from like 2 weeks to however long, we don't know. So it was just like at any moment I'm leaving, and like I'm starting a new life. So it was definitely a very like terrifying experience of just that whole like bit where you're just waiting to go and just like sorting through all these like memories and different parts of my life. But actually moving to America has been incredible. Of course, it's been scary. It's very complicated. It's very difficult to get a social security number and health insurance. And I'm British. We just have the NHS. Like we don't do this. So like
I was gonna say it's a headache.
It's not easy, but I have had really incredible people both at AEW and other friends who really just like took me in. Like Americans are so friendly, so they just look after you like you're their own. And I've almost got like, I always say I've got like my American mom. So like I showed, because I'm visiting my mom now, I was like, this is my one mom, this is my other mom, and this is my other mom.
Oh, I love that.
I have like so many moms. But yeah, it's surreal. It's definitely scary, but nothing worth having comes easy. And I think the fact that I get to have this moment at Wembley and this match at Wembley in my home is like very poetic and very nice, even though I live in America. Because my parents and my whole family have only ever seen me wrestle once, and it was my debut, and it was in a school gym in front of like 50 people. So the fact that they now get to watch me at Wembley and take over AEW and really lead the women's division is very special.
I feel like it's only onwards and upwards from here. But I gotta tell you, Mariah, like listening to you tell your story, I feel like not just myself, but everybody that's listening is like sort of getting like encouraged, because it really has been like this whole journey. Like you're risking it all, moving to these different countries, doing all of it. Like that really takes guts. And I don't think like sometimes when you're in it, you don't really realize it, and sometimes you just need to hear it from someone else. But like that takes guts. So I'm so happy for you, and I'm excited to see you at All In. I do want to switch gears into our lightning round game. It's a game that I do with everybody where I ask them 10 random questions and you answer them however you please. So here we go. A lightning round with Mariah May. Question number 1. If you could raid any celebrity's closet, who would it be?
It wouldn't fit me, but Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh, she's the best. Isn't she? Is the best.
Like a little
she's very tiny. But I feel like you and Sabrina, your wardrobe, like her wardrobe on you, like, yeah, it just fits perfectly.
Yeah,
Question number 2, if you could model alongside any top model ever, who would it be?
Kate Moss.
Oh, yeah, she's fabulous. Question number 3, what was your first job ever?
I was the secretary.
Oh, where at?
It was a property company.
Oh, I was going to say so formal. I love it. All right. Question number 4, who are some of your biggest inspirations in and out of wrestling?
This is a good one. Oh, it's hard because wrestling, it's so different because I'm inspired by so many different people. But oh my gosh. I don't, you know what? Actually, my inspirations are probably my parents, because they came from nothing and they worked extremely hard and they've built an amazing home and company and family. And you know, you talk about me and you're like, when you're in it, you don't see it. But I actually watch kind of with my parents when I look back at what they built and the life they gave me. So I must say my parents.
I love that. That's so awesome. Question number 5. What is your favorite movie?
Ooh, Spirit. I don't know if you know it. It's
I
like a
haven't seen
cartoon.
it.
It's like a
Oh, the
cartoon about
cartoon.
horses.
Yes, I've seen the cover, but I've never seen the movie.
I feel like I can't watch it anymore. It makes me too like nostalgic, but I loved that growing up. So
Question number 6. What is your favorite Mina Shirakawa story?
there's many that I probably couldn't tell, but I have a good one, but it's bad. So in Japan, there are these, I can't remember the name of them, but they're just like public baths. And so like typically like in, in America and the UK, when we go to the sauna or the hot tub, we wear a bikini. But in Japan, you don't wear anything. So Mina texts me, she's like, hey, do you want to go relax? Do you want to go to the bath? And I'm like, yeah, great, sounds good. So we go in, we get given the like dressing gown, and then I'm like trying to put mine on, and she's like, no. And I'm like, yeah, but it's fine. She's like, oh, you need to go naked. And I'm like, yeah, but there's people. And she went, it's only ladies go naked. And she's just there naked with a towel on her head waiting for me. And I'm like, oh. And then the whole time I went in, every time I'd look at her, she would laugh at me because she could tell I was dying, because it's just a completely different culture. Like nobody cares. Nobody cares that you're naked. Like nobody bats like an eyelid. But like I was like, oh, this is so scandalous. And she was just like,
Oh, I was gonna say, no, like I'm literally like my face is like I imagine this. I'm like, no way.
She was like, it's just ladies.
I was gonna say, you think you could do it again now that you've gone through it once?
Oh yeah, well then it became a regular thing.
Oh,
like I just got with it, and then now I'm back in America, and I'm like, swimsuit. Don't forget your swimsuit.
Oh my god, I love that. I wish she taught you something new, a whole new experience.
Oh, she taught me a lot of things.
Okay, now I definitely want to know what it's like to hang out with Mina. All right, question number 7. Who are your top 3 dream opponents?
Ooh, Mina. I've already wrestled her once and beat her, but I would love to wrestle her in America. I'd love to wrestle Chris Statlander. Not sure I'd describe it as a dream, but I'd love to beat her. And I would love to wrestle Emmy.
Oh, nice. That's a good list right there.
Tweeted me since I joined saying, we want to see Mariah and Emmy, and it's never really happened. So maybe once I'm world champion, she can challenge me.
Question number 8. What has been your most favorite match so far?
Oh, it's a difficult question. Honestly, I love a lot of matches that I had for different reasons. I loved when Mina and I won the Goddess of Stardom championships, the tag team championships, because it was like my first really big championship, and I would have thought I would have won a championship in Japan. And I love my singles with Mina. Honestly, I loved like my matches in the 5-star tournament, because I feel like that's where I truly improved as a singles wrestler. And then I would say in AEW was my match against Willow, because I won the Owen Hart Foundation tournament and finally got to show everyone who I really am.
That's so cool. Question number 9. What is your favorite way to spend a day off?
Napping. I'm
Yes.
old. I'm an old lady. I just want to nap. So I'll go to the gym and I'll go home and shower and get in my comfies, and I'm like, that's it. I hope I sleep all day and all night.
Yeah, I was going to say, plus get your beauty sleep. You're always traveling. You're always working. So yes to the napping.
Yes, please.
And last question number 10. How many times do you get asked if you're named after Mariah Carey?
Well, Will Washington might ask me once a day. But yeah, I think that's a pretty common go-to whenever I say I'm called Mariah. But also, the other one I get is, can you sing like Mariah Carey? No. I'm at Wembley wrestling, not singing for a reason, okay? If I could sing, I would do it.
I was going to say, are you even a fan of hers?
I am. I do love Mariah.
Okay, I was going to say.
How could I not? No, she must die. There is only one Mariah. And
so it's so funny because, so fun fact, my sister's name is Mariah, but she was actually named after Mariah Carey, and she does not listen to Mariah at all, does not like Mariah Carey, won't even give her a chance, nothing. She's a lot younger, so, you know, maybe Mariah's like past her.
Yeah,
she's 19, so I'm like,
she's not that young.
I was like, but she does not listen, she doesn't even want to listen to Mariah at all.
Get her, just keep playing it whenever she's around, and just kind of bring her into it, hypnotize her into it.
So So yeah, I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be the thing. Like people just be constantly asking. I was even gonna ask you, but I learned that you weren't named after Mariah. So I was like, oh damn.
Good. I'm glad you didn't, because I get it every time. Or it's a pretty good one if people don't know how to spell your name or anything like that. Or like say, I'm like, oh, it's Mariah, like Mariah Carey, and everyone's like, oh, so it worked. It has its benefits.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Mariah, thank you so much for chatting with me. It was so great to get to know you a little bit more here on the channel. Before we go, please let the people know where they can follow you, support you, watch AEW, all that good stuff.
Of course. So my username is Mariah May X on everything. You can watch me on AEW Dynamite and Collision. And of course, you can watch me at AEW All In on August 25th at Wembley Stadium when I deliver Toni Storm's final curtain call.
I love it. Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much to Mariah May for doing this interview. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.